Scorpios, hi, it's Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead in March. And oh my gosh, I feel like the most important thing for Scorpio to do right here, right now is to breathe, to get yourself together a little bit and understand that things do not stop here. This is not the end all be all. Jupiter is in your sign. We are in Pisces time. We're about to go into Equinox time. And here is Scorpio still kind of all over the place, but together in ways that you never have been before. This is a very hard time for Scorpios. Not traumatic, not crisis, not overwhelming, but intrinsic and motivated and busy. To me, this time for Scorpio energetically feels like very tightly wound springs. It feels as if you are preparing for a launch or preparing for the debut, preparing for a new exposure of yourself into the world. And the groundwork that takes becomes very consuming in this energy. There's a lot around you right now, Scorpio. You feel like very netted to me. Your energy feels very pulled in many different directions, and at the same time very genius as well. I feel like incredible month for business, incredible month for understanding who you are more innately, for resting, breaking out of your confines, breaking out of the old cycles and codependent relationships, working really hard, adventuring, but coming back to rest at the same time. This is a month where almost like I can't give one specific kind of advice because the energy demands so much of you. Okay, so everybody else, Scorpio, this is Equinox time, the 3rd week of March, getting into the 4th week. We have Aries time starting again, so we're starting over, you know. This whole 2017 year cycle that's been going on since March of last year, March of 2017, has to have taught you something really important and has to have given you a motivation and ability to step into 10 of Wands and still allow yourself 4 of Swords, if that makes sense. To be able to find that productivity and still rest your back, to be able to break out of that 8 of Swords energy and still find your like inner High Priestess energy. This month Scorpio tests it, and it tests it very, very thoroughly, because you've ascended very quickly and have faced a lot of yourself, but now it's kind of tested. And now these new foundations, now these new structures are seen for what they need to be and placed into your inner mechanism in a way that feels to me like a brand new car being driven for the first time. So a lot of you have like a new engine or have like a new mechanical structure working in your energetic outlay, working in your body, new types of sources of energy. And now it's like you have to start the engine and you have to be able to implement them. And while at the same time letting go of a lot and preparing yourself for the new cycles coming in. So as I was saying, Scorpios, before I kind of went off on a tangent there, for everybody else, this is a time of release, letting go, and dying back a little bit, for almost allowing yourself the rest after the storm, the calm after the storm is kind of what this energy is like for everybody else. And you're going to feel that as well. You're going to feel a lot of desire to just exhale and to release all of your past and cycles, and it's good to an extent. But Scorpio, I feel, finds its power in March in being sort of against the grain, or being the person who can actually be productive when everybody else is in the exhale, and to be the person who is actually exhaling when everybody else is in the grind, okay? So finding a polarity in a healthy way here is absolutely paramount to you getting ahead right now. How can you start to construct situations where you have these types of advantages? I feel like you have to be very strategic right now in March about your future. I would recommend sometime probably around 2nd week of March, 4th week of March. Honestly, I mean, anytime in the entire month is good to clear out your schedule, take pressure off of yourself, and replace that with productivity of understanding where you need to be a year from now, where you need to be a year and a half from now, what your end game is. Because I do think that Scorpio can be like hyper productive here in March, that 10 of Wands energy, and also 6 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, lots of like busy, I am like working so much, like workaholic type of energy coming in that I think can make time pass too quickly and the long-term goals start to slide and slip. So obviously a very strong purpose month here in March, where Scorpio could have the complete transformation, the complete new experience of life come in by allowing yourself the freedom to actually understand what it is that you want, and then implementing a structure that builds toward that. Instead of maybe sort of having a more foggy days of what it is that you're striving for, and it's like, okay, as long as I'm getting work, or as long as I'm being productive and funding my future, then I'll figure it out and I'll go from there, and you just kind of let a lot of time pass, and then everything gets confused. I think that it's very important to dictate or to clarify what your expression as a person is. So not necessarily being dictatorial over other people, not necessarily trying to push this energy off onto others, because Scorpio can be guilty of this sometimes. When you're not feeling very polished or very put together in yourself, you can get very like, well, look at how off they are. Look at how bad they look at how unpolished this person is. Look at how unsolid their business structure is, when in reality, like, it's kind of like a mirror, you know, and you're seeing how it's similar, or you're seeing how, well, if I don't get it together, that's what I'm going to look like, or that type of thing. So that's a red flag for March, is being very like hyper judgmental or hyper aware of other people's I don't want to call them failures, because it's not a failure thing. It's like a not being where you want to be. It's like a mal success, or a just lack of polish and structure, I want to say. I definitely sense that Scorpio is proving something to themselves in March. I sense that this could definitely be one of those months where it's important to not sabotage your progress, or to not be too conservative with your output, in the sense that, well, I could like make the great website, or I could do the incredible business trip that could really help my metrics, but no, I think I'm just going to save and be more safe with it, and maybe in the future I can try to do something flashy like this. This is a month where flashy isn't too bad, Scorpios, but it needs to be like an integration of this as well, I'm feeling, is what I'm kind of hearing about that. What I'm feeling is that the big flash, again, has to happen towards like August through September, but there needs to be like a small flash right here, a small like a change in the formula that proves to you that you can, that proves to you that before maybe you go like guns a-blazing and crazy with everything, like maybe here in March you can sort of test those waters and think, okay, can I actually manifest something that is part of my authentic being? Which of course you can, Scorpio, but sometimes you get very uncomfortable with these types of things, and it's a month to find comfortability in your authentic manifestation for sure. Scorpio is one of those signs that if it's not making a budget sense, if it's not making logistic sense, then it's just simply not possible. And even if that falls into your authentic space as a person, if it's not logistically possible, it's just not working. So you can get very intense with that sometimes, but with that intensity comes the other end of the spectrum, you know, because Scorpio is very contrast oriented, very black and white type of energy. So through honing that and understanding, okay, I'm actually cutting myself off at the knees here, I can completely come in on the other end of this and completely manifest my life around what my authentic being is, find my purpose within myself instead of as some kind of outside, unrelated object which is never achievable. I feel that Scorpio finds their power this month in that place where there's just simply a realization, and even perhaps like a self-proving, that this authentic version of purpose can be manifested. Side note, I think that this month is very incredible to travel, or to have a vacation, to have like a weekend getaway, to do something spontaneous. Maybe if you've been saving up for a while, you know, let yourself go somewhere away for the weekend. Get by the water would be incredible for Scorpios with this Pisces energy coming in. If any of you can get to the beach, I know if you're a student, maybe you can go away on spring break or something. Or if you're not, then just, or if you live by a beach, or you live by a body of water, like you have done something right, find the water, find the storms as well. I feel like rainstorms and any basically natural water, whether it be like falling from the sky, a hot spring, a sauna, or like just bodies of water, teaches you a lot this month and sort of gives you some of these answers to these questions that you've had in your gut for a long time. Okay, Scorpios, I'm going to get into the week to week so I can elaborate a little bit more on what energies are coming forward. Week number 1, Scorpios, 10 of Wands, rooted down by 6 of Pentacles. Oh my gosh, 6 of Pentacles has been coming up for everybody this month. I will put in the description box below which other signs got it, and you guys can check out those readings, or perhaps you can note which signs those are, and if you have those signs in your life, perhaps that's a bit of a validation of who you might be experiencing this with, or who is on the other end of this. I feel with that energy connecting with 10 of Wands that there is a lot of energy going to maintaining old, worn out, unspecified, codependent relationship ties. And which is interesting because I think, Scorpio, within like January and February, you've let go of a lot. And I think that a lot of you have given yourself that closure that you needed. Even like new relationships coming in, I sense as well. But there's something very old and worn out still here. So the self-evolution, the relationship with yourself. Sometimes Scorpio can kind of get 6 of Pentacles with themselves. Like I have like these 3 different versions of yourself that are like a communicating and tied into each other in a strange way. It's like there needs to be a leveling, there needs to be a flattening, and I almost want to say like a monotone assigned to people who expect something of you, or even the parts of yourself which have unrealistic expectations or like misaligned expectations towards what brings you fulfillment. It feels like, so for me, 6 of Pentacles, I have a few takes on it, but what I'm feeling most strongly for Scorpio is reaching a point of compromise with yourself, and it can be other people as well, but I'm just really feeling for Scorpio, this is like a relationship with self type of thing. What are you compromising within yourself? What deal are you taking? Like, I feel like value is very emphasized here. Like maybe you're sort of bargaining with yourself, or you're thinking, okay, self, okay, me, I think that I don't like the job that I'm in anymore, but it's going to cost me X amount of money to actually do what I want to do, and I can never make that, so in that way, I will never do what is authentic to me. And then it's like the other part of yourself comes back, well, okay, that's fine, but if you won't take my offer, or you won't pay up to do what's authentic to you, I will by default give you this lingering sense of gloominess and a lack of fulfillment, which is just constant. It feels like there's this transaction happening. It's like, okay, I can't invest in myself, but I will nonetheless accept this constant feeling of discontent in what I do by default. There's like, it's not very wonderful, Scorpio, and I feel like this has been a big thing for you in 2017. It's difficult to articulate. I hope that I've kind of gotten into the realm of what that is, because I can't quite even put a specific articulation onto that. But I would try to stop bargaining with yourself and stop compromising. And again, I would also try to logistically get back into your expression as a person, to understand what it is that you like, what it is that you want to do. And rather than bargaining with yourself to even try, like, get some real logistics in there. I feel like Queen of Swords or King of Swords energy is very wonderful to be working with right now. And you guys have King of Wands actually as your central theme. So it's kind of a, it's not similar, but it's good, I think, because I at least feel like with that coming into tie all of this together, that you'll pay a bit less attention to this very self-effacing, self-sabotaging gut instinct that's like, no, I can't do what I want. That's crazy. That costs way too much. I'm just going to be discontent with what I do forever. And that's not as big of a cost to me as what it would cost to do what I want to do. Definitely think about how much it costs to always be unhappy with what you do versus how much it costs to risk doing what's authentic. Okay, big thought for March, because moving into the second week, you guys have King of Pentacles reversed, rooted down by the High Priestess. And that's sort of where I'm getting a lot of this thought from. It's like your career energy and tangible material energy, Scorpio, is feeling a little bit reversed and linked into what's spiritually right. So to me, it makes it feel like your career energy is not honoring you at an authentic place. Like, it's not a spiritual validation. Not for all Scorpios, because I think this has been a theme for us since about like the last 2 or 3 years. And we've sort of been on a path to understanding what it is. But a lot of us have found ourselves in a career or in a sector of material reality with just the smallest lack of alignment, because, you know, they're together. It's like King of Pentacles and the High Priestess are in the same sector, so they're almost connected, but there's like a reversal, and it's like it's just not quite there, and it's not quite adding up. So Think about, in this last week before we get into Equinox Scorpio, what in the material sense of your life is not adding up to who you actually want to be or what feels authentic to you. This may even get out of career energy, just even into things which are real in your life. So the people which are in your sphere, who like you're in close proximity to, not like internet relationships, not like social media, but the people actually in your life, your house, your location that you're in, your car, your belongings. Something there is a little bit skewed and very close to being calibrated. And I feel that this week, by seeing your productivity as a person, seeing like what you're devoting all of your energy to, you can really come into contact with, funnily enough, these codependent relationship ties in Six of Pentacles, the bargaining with yourself, and then through seeing that, find that the cost to do what's authentic may actually be much less than the long-term cost of this small, lingering discontentment, that what is around right now, even if it's not career, even if it's not home, whatever that association with discontentment is within you, that cost in the long run may be realized by you to be much more high than the loss that you would receive from switching what you do now with what is actually authentic to you. So make a plan here. Make a plan where you can kind of go into the second half of March, into Equinox time, knowing that there is a plan. Like, even if the logistics aren't right to just up and move, or to leave the relationship, or to make a really big flash here, something small, baby steps, baby steps. It feels like small actions to prove to yourself that you can bring in what you need most. Scorpios, straight into third week, Eight of Swords reversed, you're down by Nine of Cups reversed. There is something here within all of this, within whatever you're seeing in this week, that makes you see everything that has been hiding under the bed, or everything that has been swimming around in the unconscious zone, because Scorpios are very deep there, of course, as all water signs are. So the connection of Eight of Swords and Nine of Cups, very opposite energies. The feeling of being very trapped and blindfolded versus the feeling of being very lucky and very opulent, very optimistic, very powerful. Very antithetical ideas coming up there in the third week, and you see the connection. You see, and again, this gets back into that Six of Pentacles territory as well. You see that sometimes when you are blindfolded and trapped and at the disposal of somebody else, the true power that you have over them or over a situation, and you see that when you are your own independent, solidly identified person, the sometimes isolation of that, and it's not an isolation, it's not a disempowerment, but when you're caught into some of these difficult ties, when you're really stuck into these cycles of codependent relationships and struggling to cope with narcissistic people, you can start to feel that solid, independent, powerful identity is weakness, okay? And that's what's been forging in you for all of this year, Scorpio, is that strong, powerful, rooted down, anchored identity. And a lot of the loss and pain of this last year cycle has come from renouncing that a bit, and from perhaps prioritizing codependent ties and narcissistic people over your own identity, because it can be scary when Scorpio has to be completely alone, because we're so transformative to everybody who comes in. It can be like a movie, or it can be like a fictional story to watch how people's lives change when they come into our lives, and then when we're by ourselves, we're like, well, what now? You know, and there's just that pause, and there's just that kind of fear, and that looming kind of the last moth flying around, like after a cold snap or after like a freezing weather, and all of the other moths have died, but it realizes, okay, I know that I'm about to die, but I'm still here. Why am I the only one left? Why am I last? I feel this energy for Scorpio very strongly, like everybody else has lost favor. Everybody else has, you know, turned in their chips. Everybody else is done and have moved on, but I'm still here. I'm still connected in, and I'm still holding on to life. And this feels very scary to Scorpio, but how powerful you are through this, and how much you learn about holding on to things through letting go afterwards, and through being able to, you know, take the blindfold off, through being able to leave the Eight of Swords energy behind, because you don't need to be the last person there. You find yourself there a lot. You find yourself as that last person, or you find yourself as the last one to kind of navigate or move on from the experience, and that pushes you directly into the 4th week, Scorpio. 2 of Pentacles rooted down by 4 of Swords. You come into the decision, you know, okay, I'm the last one here. I'm the last one standing, and there's nobody here to thrive through my transformative energy. Am I going to choose to die here and, you know, succumb to the cold snap? Or am I going to find a nice warm cave, 4 of Swords, rest myself, go into my cocoon, and come back out without having succumbed to the same tragic end that everybody else did, because they were, for all intents and purposes, too weak to experience the cold, or at the least felt that it was not escapable in any way. So Scorpio, you found the cocoon. You found the cocoon energy in the last week of March, and we've come through Equinox, and don't spend too long there. Find your answers, because I want to see Scorpios thriving a bit more. I want to see Scorpios back on the stage of life, launching off into greatness. But if there were a time to have cocoon period, or sort of escape from humanity, this would be it. I agree. Even better, like in the first half of March, but I just sense it coming in that 4th week with 4 of Swords there. So don't make it last like all year or anything, but gain your strength, because I feel that you are about to launch off. King of Wands as your central theme. All of this energy, Scorpios, has to wrap itself up and become an incredible, thriving, eccentric, adaptable, spotlighted energy of beauty and overall strength. You know, like that fire energy, that most evolved masculine fire energy. It's very attractive. It's very wonderful. It's very regal feeling, but it is also strong and enduring and can keep the flame going for a while versus burning out. So Scorpios, learn that lesson about burnout. Learn how to endure the cold, and through learning that, learn how to not burn out in the future. Find these integrations. Find the middle ground in your polarity. You become very strong after this month. This month introduces something so just like, I'm so excited to see what happens for you guys. Try to not get too overwhelmed with your work. Stay productive. Keep a good posture. Get to the chiropractor. Have a massage. A good month for like finding new health regimens, dieting, cleansing your body of impurities. Very important here, especially in the first half of March. It would be nice to sort of be into that and over with that once we get into the second half, once we're into Equinox, but it's overall supported. And just embrace that King of Wands energy very strongly. I feel you become so empowered by it. If you guys would like to book a private reading with me, that's on the center of your screen. You can also check the playlist for your 2018 year ahead video. I think that they're wonderful. Please subscribe, like, and comment to my channel if it feels right. It makes my day every time. And you can click the bell to get notifications whenever I post. And you guys can check the description box below for useful links. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. As most of us, I am spread out across the board. So I'll talk to you guys later. Much love. Bye.